Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I guess I will go through the regular rundown of what I did, and then I'll move on to some specifics about me. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I'm doing an intro series. So I will be talking about my personal endeavors and my profession. I am a writer. More specifically, I'm a screenwriter. So yeah, I'll just go through the whole story, as I decided at a very young age that this is what I want to do. And then apart from that, I'm going to go out tonight, so I'm going to get ready as I speak with you. So I guess I will start with the basics. I do, again, like last time, I have a base. So I'll go in my under eye and just brighten that up. I don't use concealer really anymore. What I normally do now is apply color corrector, and then whatever foundation I'm using, I will just apply that to my under eye. I don't want attention on the under eye, rather the eye itself. Like that. I mean, there's still brightness, certainly, because of the color corrector, and I like that. So I will start with my day. When I wake up, make myself a cup of tea, or I do the whole bathroom routine, like a fat dump. And then I make myself tea. And the first thing I do is I edit my book. Then I see what my cousins want to do. I go to the gym every other day, so I'm with Raza. Oh, prior to that, I picked up some boba with Zara. And I'm gonna do an intro. I'm gonna talk about them too eventually, because I think each video I wanna discuss one topic at a time. I did a kind of a quick run the first time around, where I broke down some of my interests and hobbies. Well, I went more specifically into hobbies and what do I like doing apart from anything vocational. So yeah, like last time, just using this brush to pack in the blush a little bit, and maybe I'll brighten up this area too around my face, just a little bit. Right, so I guess I'll go into more detail about my passions. I decided to pursue screenwriting when I was 14. I perceived film as a haven, and I think this might be a corny way to put it. Movies make you feel like you're less alone. It just does. I picked this medium in particular because we have this huge reliance of the visual representation of the human emotion. And that's what I mean. When you see expressions or figments of hopefulness and hopelessness and loss and love and surprise and change, these things, these fundamental experiences that we all encounter at one point or another in our lives, when we witness it on the screen, or when we just witness it in general through different artistic mediums, we end up connecting. And I chose this one in particular for that ultimate reason. I mean, film is, I wouldn't say ultimate, I wouldn't want to have it compete with other genres of art or other types of art, but I do think it has the advantage of visual representation. And I can't say that's entirely the reason why I picked it. I mean, I was young when I decided, and even in my childhood, I'd always wanted to be a writer. That blooming passion progressed even in my elementary years. Throughout middle school, I might have been a little unsure as to what field I wanted to pursue, but it was certainly artistic. And now there are other interests of mine, but they don't supersede film. 14's the age. I knew what I wanted to do. I called my dad and I told him, listen, I learned that there's this field, and it's called screenwriting, and it merges writing and film together, and I feel like this is my niche. Dad had always known that I'm going to pursue some sort of something within the field of writing, whether it be novel or film or I remember he even suggested why not Broadway, why not try that, when I was younger and I hadn't even considered movies. My dad would also save some of my old essays and stories or fictional stories when I was a wee lad. So he would save it in a box, and that's really sweet. Anyway, I told him, this is what I want to do. And he told me I have to be the best at it. And I don't think I've ever burnt out. I really don't. I love what I do virtually more than nearly everything in my life. I love it, and I am very comfortable with paying dues and putting in the effort and putting in the years, as that is now perceived as a privilege, because of course not everyone has the opportunity to pursue what they love, and I have that option. It's not an easy route. Pursuing film there's no canonical route. There isn't like steps laid out for you to get from point A to point B, being an Oscar, you know? So of course you kind of have to figure out how you're going to go about things. If there is a way I can express film, it would be by personifying the career, just because I think it has behaved as a form of company for me. And I feel like it's just part of me. The most interest in screenwriting, but I guess the next would be producing. I also enjoy the business side of film, and I wouldn't say producing is all business. Of course, you need to have an artistic lens, but you know, there is a balance of both. You can gauge the value of film. The entertainment value would have to rely on not only understanding artistic expression from a particular, let's say, director or writer, but also understanding your targeted audience. You cannot just sit there and justify an artist's work because you understand the artist. You can't do that. You really have to look at the face value, the entertainment value, and what is produced and what is on screen. But anyways, that being said, yeah, I do have an interest in producing. While I was in film school, my mentor suggested that I join film communities. So I started as a production assistant. I was 18. And then eventually wrote for a couple producers. And then after that, I produced my own short films. They are not great. I didn't really find my voice up until like COVID. I thought it would be productive to work with socio-political concepts and try to enforce some sort of humanitarian lesson. As I got older, I realized this is a little preachy, and I wrote my first animated script. The story originated from a poem that my grandmother wrote. So I turned it into a poem, my rendition. My trajectory shifted, especially since I started working on that animated script. So some of my short films were in like small festival circuits, and they acquired some attention. Eventually I won Best Writer and Best Picture for a short film that I think, and it says in the email, so I'm not just like flexing for no reason. It's cool. It's a short film, but it's cool. But it competed against some Emmy nominees or Academy Award nominees, but within like short film. And it was pretty awesome. And I think that broadened my network, which is great. I received some exposure, got in touch with another writer, and then we collaborated on a project, so that was cool. That writer is very seasoned. He had his own concepts that he was working on, so I gave him feedback. He gave me feedback for mine. Turns out we had similar writing styles and ended up collaborating. As I started building a network, I connected with some people that work at different production companies, and they put me in touch with other people, and I just started to grow in my field. And it was a very exciting time. Then at some point I became a judge or a reader for Austin Film Festival. It's cool to say that I still am one, and every year you have to read nearly or maybe a little over 100 scripts, but it's totally worth it. You get to attend the festival and the conferences and meet some great writers in the industry. I had the pleasure of meeting Michael Schur and Scott Frank and David Koepp, which I didn't plan this, but oh my god, I really didn't plan this. But Jurassic Park is my favorite movie. He wrote Jurassic Park, and when I met him, I just completely, oh my god, that was so embarrassing. Like, I just started crying immediately. I could not contain myself, and I told him, like, I look up to you so much, and I aspire to be at your caliber. And I was babbling left and right, and we exchanged emails, and he gave me some great advice. I really appreciate him, and he's a wonderful person. And yes, I met Michael Schur, and he's just like Jim from The Office. He's really very relaxed, and he makes people feel super comfortable and seen, which is so nice, because there are so many writers coming up to him and asking for advice, and he was just so humble about his work. So yeah, I've been a judge for a minute now. I got my first job in the industry at a talent agency. That was great. I had to read scripts and do a breakdown, which is something that I was doing at Austin Film Festival anyway. So it is something I very much so enjoyed, and knows, of course, then for certain clients, it was just really cool. You hear big names and you hear big projects, and eventually you see them on streaming platforms. So I thought that was super fun. But going back to just the timeline of things, yes, as of recently, I finished my novel, and it is a grounded sci-fi. I think maybe the next video or a later video I will go into detail about the book, the story. But yes, I finished my first draft, and we'll be moving on to the second, obviously. And then editing, and then we'll see what we'll do with publishing. I had been advised a couple years back that if you are pitching to agencies, you should have some secondary material with your script. It just kind of enforces the legitimacy of your project, and I took that advice very seriously and started this novel. And it took me about 2 years, 4 years in total, because I wrote my first script, that first draft, the year before, and then the year before that, I was in the process of preparing the story. So I have been working with this concept for a very long time, and normally I like working on multiple projects and just trying to cover all my bases. When I was younger, I think, as I had mentioned earlier, that I don't burn out. When I told my dad, like, this is what I want to pursue, that summer I would stay up till 5 a.m. and then wake up 5 p.m. or just my schedule was super inverted, because I wanted to give all of my time to working on my first script. And I used the Celtics program, which was free at the time. I don't know if it is now. I use Final Draft now, but my dad downloaded Celtics for me when I was a kid. And he told me, listen, don't burn yourself out. And I took that as a literal fucking challenge for the rest of my life. So, luckily, mashallah, I don't feel like I ever burn out. And it's so stupid, but they say, it's not work if you love it. I fucking love it, baby. I love what I do. So yeah, when I was younger and I wanted to get into film school and I wanted to have a great portfolio, I was working on multiple scripts at a time. Sometimes it would be 4 at a time. And I had this, I didn't really know too much about the industry. I just learned what I learned online before getting into film school. So I thought that each script has to be 120 pages. So I'm like, okay, I'll do 4 scripts at a time, and then I'll write a page a day for 4 months, and then I'll be done. Normally, I don't treat my projects like they are my babies, because you never know. You never know, maybe one day someone picks it up and they want to rip it apart and revise the whole concept, change it, ultimately. So I try not to attach sentimental value to my projects, but this one right here, because I had been working so long, I am attached to my protagonist, and I know him through and through, as well as the supporting characters and the external conflict, the internal narrative of the character, how it makes him feel, and what emotions does it produce. And I know, I wouldn't say as far as detailed idiosyncrasies, no, not necessarily, but just the general mindset, because I know how my character internalizes things. And I've gotten very attached, so much so that I wouldn't even dare changing his name. So yeah, I think I'd like to conclude this video on the point that you have to be true to yourself. You have to prioritize it. And I'm a big believer in moderation, of course, that the answers and the remedies are within you. You can only formulate an answer that would best support your needs. And in order to do that, you must be honest, and you must be true, and you must be sincere with yourself, because only then can you achieve a life that is fulfilling. And it is one life. You do exactly what you want. So yeah, don't waste this life. Okay, anyway, thank you for watching. I will be posting weekly, which is pretty cool. And maybe throughout the week, I'll also give like a little update as to what I'm doing, or if there's anything goofy or funny or whatever, I'll just maybe do like a little compilation of what I did and throw it on YouTube and see what's up. But yes, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, have a lovely evening. Bye.